Chapter 3. Mrs. Vernon to Lady de Courcy.
Church Hill. My dear Mother, I am very sorry to tell you that it will not be within our power to keep our promise of spending our Christmas with you, and we are prevented that happiness by a circumstance which is not likely to make us any amends. Lady Susan, in a letter to her brother-in-law, has declared her intention of visiting us almost immediately, and as such a visit is in all probability merely an affair of convenience, it is impossible to conjecture its length. I was by no means prepared for such an event, nor can I now account for her ladyship's conduct. Langford appeared so exactly the place for her in every respect, as well from the elegant and expensive style of living there, as well as from her particular attachment to Mr. Mainwaring, that I was very far from expecting so speedy a distinction, though I always imagined, from her increasing friendship for us since her husband's death, that we should at some future period be obliged to receive her. Mr. Vernon, I think, was a great deal too kind to her when he was in Staffordshire. Her behaviour to him, independent of her general character, has been so inexcusably artful and ungenerous since her marriage was first in agitation, that no one less amiable and mild than himself could overlook it all. And though as his brother's widow and in narrow circumstances, and it was proper to render her pecuniary assistance, I cannot help thinking that his pressing invitation to her to visit us at Church Hill perfectly unnecessary. Disposed, however, as he always is to think the best of everyone, her displays of grief and professions of regret and general resolutions of prudence were sufficient to soften his heart and make him really confide in her sincerity. But as for myself, I remain unconvinced, as her ladyship has now written, and I cannot make up my mind until I better understand her real meaning in coming to us. You may guess, therefore, my dear mother, with what feelings I look forward to her arrival. She will have occasion for all those attractive powers for which she is celebrated to gain any share of my regard, and I shall certainly endeavour to guard myself against her influence, if not accompanied by something more substantial. She expresses a most eager desire of becoming acquainted with me, and makes very gracious mention of my children, though I am not quite weak enough to suppose a woman who has behaved with inattention, if not unkindness, to her own child, should be attached to any of mine. Miss Vernon is to be placed in a school in London before her mother comes to us, which I am glad of for her sake and my own. It must be to her advantage to be separated from her mother, and a girl of 16, who has received so wretched an education, could not be very desirable company here. Reginald has long wished, I know, to see the captivating Lady Susan, and he will depend on joining our party soon. I am glad to hear that my father continues so well, and I am, with best love, Catherine Vernon.